Hello guys, I am Alex Kloskov, commercial photographer, founder of Photigy.com. I help other photographers to establish and grow their photography business. Today is my critic and review session. It's a bi-weekly session where I provide my feedback, possible solutions, some recommendations to images, on how to improve images submitted on Photigy forum. We have this forum called Submit Your Work for Critic and Review, and this is my contribution to that forum. Okay, so let me jump to first topic on my list of unread topics, and we'll go from there. Okay, Sam submitted this watch. Nice watch on white background and same shot on dark background, basically black background with some cool highlights. And this is the lighting setup. Sam, it's great that you at least did this. There is a requirement, right, to have lighting setup. But of course, if you would have a real lighting setup, I mean the actual lighting setup which you took after or during the shot, it will be really, really great. Guys, I'm telling you, to everyone who's kind of considering, well, who's working in the studio, always capture the lighting setup. Maybe not for this forum, not for submissions, just for yourself. I always do it. I started doing this, well, 5 years ago, before I even was thinking about starting my blog, where I could share those lighting setups. I was taking pictures, several angles, just from, well, first it was some point and shoot camera, then my phone, of the lighting setup of every shot I do. It's very good to have such library of your lighting setup. You can always go back and see how we did it, similar shot a year ago, let's say. And of course, it helps a lot to provide you most helpful feedback when I see how it was actually shot. Because, yeah, I understand this. It was some kind of box, diffusion box around the watch. You had that soft box on top of it somewhere, and then you had light with basically diffuser somewhere. You said diffusion paper somewhere on the right. But you see, it's not really, well, I don't see details, right? We don't see how it was positioned. And sometimes the positioning, sometimes a very little thing may be very important. I can just, see the lighting setup and say, oh man, you need to move this light just to fit that side or whatever. And it may fix something, right? It may change the outcome dramatically. So it's very important to get the real shot of the lighting setup, okay? So let's see. The watch is cool, right? It looks pretty good. Oops. But what I can tell you is this. I see that it has metal body, right, the watch, and white face, but I don't see, is it glossy or not? Because for me, the watch, the body itself looks like white, maybe a little bit glossy white, almost like a plastic. I don't really see that it's shiny metal. Well, maybe it wasn't shiny metal. I see that the crown is shiny, but I don't see was it shiny or not the whole watch, the body. And do you know why I see that? And it's not only me, I'm sure everyone will agree that the crown is shiny. Because it has white and black. It has really bright highlights and some little shadow area, almost black. And that's how our mind tells us that something is glossy when we look at it. Especially when it's product photography, when everything is smooth and we don't see in that glossy piece all the room around, I mean in the reflection, right? Because it's all covered by diffuser. We need to show that it was glossy, and to do this we need to have the highlights and shadows. We need to have areas where it's really almost overexposed, the reflection from the diffuser, because that's how we see, right? Something glossy. You don't highlight glossy subject directly. You create some nice gradient, some nice highlight and shadow transition on the diffuser, and then this diffuser gets reflected from the area. So here you need to have somewhere dark area, somewhere brighter areas on the watch body, because it's not really telling me that it was glossy. And I can tell you this, you get it softbox, which is diffused light, and looks like it was, at least by a picture, it was a relatively large softbox, comparing the size of the subject and compared to your diffusers which you surrounded the subject. And also we had some just diffusing light somewhere on the right. And using those two lights with such light modifiers, there is no way you can create those shadows and highlights at the diffusion panels, so it will be reflected. No way, just too much diffusion. You just can blow out everything just if you add more power, or it will be too dark. And of course, the really good idea is to use light modifiers like a snoot or honeycomb grid or both to get narrow light, small spots of light from your continuous or strobe, whatever, on the diffuser panels which you surround the subject. And this is how you can create highlights, those bright areas and dark areas, because it will be localized spots of the light, right? Not much of diffusion. However, you don't have, as I understand, you don't have such light modifiers, right? There is a trick for you. You can use black paper. Black paper, some lines, maybe the size of the black paper and shape is completely depends on your lighting setup, on your diffusion material, and the diffuser, how you put it all around, and your subject, of course. But you can always stick that paper inside your diffuser, and it will create some dark reflection. And if you will spend some time moving that, usually it's a line, it's a narrow line of black paper, that's what I use. And if you spend time to move it all around inside your diffuser, you can always find the position when it creates really cool shadows, very sexy looking shadows, you know, S-shaped shadows on your subject. It works for jewelry, very, very well for jewelry, and for watch photography as well. Because, like I said, sometimes it's hard to create dark and bright areas, highlights and shadows on the diffuser, just because you don't have, you can create the narrow enough light beam, okay? So that's the most what I would fix here, add highlights and shadows. And like Florian said, whatever he said is very, well, I agree with everything. By the way, Florian, thank you for providing feedback. I see you very active on this forum, especially on this topic, and thank you so much. It's, well, wise words you're saying. So, Sam, hope you got it, right? Look at my shots. Even if you're not Pro Corner member, you may not have access to those, tutorials which I have. And by the way, it's on Advanced Product Photography Essential Spec, the watch shot. But look at the result, because in many times I found myself just looking at the portfolio of other photographers who I think doing great job, and I always try to understand how they get that shot, how they get that lighting. And even most important, not how, because how sometimes you just need to do it yourself in your studio to develop the technique, but why? Why they have it such way? And this is how you can figure out, oh, you know, there is highlights and black, and why it's glossy and why mine is not glossy. You know, that kind of questions. Ask yourself, look at the shots. You can look at my shots, or you can look at other photographers. We have this inspirational post with list of photographer blogs. Well, not only blogs, portfolios, which will help you a lot. Okay? Look and try to recreate something like this. And always ask question, why it looked different? What they did differently to get that look? Okay? So, cool shot. Keep it going. Thank you. Okay, another shot from Shake, if I pronounce it right. This hard drive. And if you ask me, I like this image better from these two, right? And this is your lighting setup. I see big softbox, right? And then you created a gradient and one more softbox on the right and a gradient on the background. And you see, when you shoot the product, there are two questions always. Well, when I do it, I ask myself. First is how to technically highlight it, the product itself, to make look kind of sexy. That's what I call it, sexy, kind of interesting. And second one is how to represent the whole image so it will be creative and interesting. So here I see some cool thing and I see some boring stuff as well. I see the whole composition is relatively boring, I would say, because, well, you don't have that close crop to make it interesting, and you don't have any props and any, kind of idea behind the shot, okay? So I would probably, if I just shoot the hard drive, I would get much closer to show some little details, and still it will be understandable that this is hard drive. I'm talking about, crop somewhere like this. So it will be more internals. This is the first kind of issue, the composition. Second is that look of the basically internals. What you really got very well is the discs, right? The disc, it has a gradient and kind of look cool. But the rest is no details, right? Here it's completely out of, well, they look flat, too bright. You probably overexposed too much reflection. What's going on? And I would definitely work on that area to make it look nicer. Because if you have shiny metal, always think about, jewelry type of shot where you need to create gradients, create highlights and shadows on those areas. Same as you did on that big mirror, meaning the disc, okay? And looking at your lighting setup, I can only suggest you this. Don't use softboxes directly highlighting subject like this with metal parts, with shiny metal parts. Softbox is great, for people, for any textured surface, like our face or whatever. But anything glossy, anything even close to glossy, it's not really good because it's really hard to create gradients. It's really hard to create those shadows and highlights which make it look interesting, the subject. I always, really, always, such strange voice, I said always. I always use diffuser between softbox and the subject, especially if I shoot something like this. Get the diffuser. It can be just, translucent anything. Maybe fabric or maybe professional diffuser like Westcott, they have diffusers. Or you can use that Savage plastic, which it's on Photigy gear page. That's what I use for my, it's plastic, roll of plastic. I use it to create custom built diffusers and reflectors, and it works great for stuff like this. And I never ever use directly softbox, especially the big ones. I understand that if you have some narrow strip boxes, right? Strip box, that's what narrow softbox is, right? You can position it on the sides, maybe kind of creating a rim light, for example. It's completely fine to have softboxes, but to highlight subject from frontal area, softbox is not good, at least big one, okay? So this is my input. You get in there, you see you can create nice, at least partially image is some, you have really nice areas. Just think about the whole composition always when you shoot it, how to make it look interesting, and also then go to details. Basically you get the whole picture first and then go back to details, see how you can highlight just little pieces, and then go again back to see the whole picture, to make the composition look interesting. Okay? So keep it going. Thank you, Checker. Okay, Stefana submitted this cool bottle of whiskey, Explorers Club Collection, John Walker whiskey. And well, there are a lot of areas where you can improve this, right? And I can talk a lot about how to shoot glass, with liquid. And looking at your lighting setup, Stefana, and looking at what you're using, I just understand that it will be really hard for you to implement any of my ideas with just two speed lights and those cardboard reflectors and some diffusers, because you just simply don't have the right equipment. And I always think this way: without good light modifiers, yes, you can do really good shots, but you will spend days, maybe weeks, creating, those, diffusers and building the lighting setup, and to fit only two light sources, So it will be hard for you, really hard for you to get the good result at what you have. My suggestion to you: look at this. It looks cool, right? Alex Stepanov, photographer from San Francisco, from California. You know how much strip box and the light cost, right? Strip box, it's narrow softbox, let's say policy buffs, the least expensive ones, I think cost around $100 each, maybe more, I forgot. Anyway, around. And if you add light to it, the least expensive light is maybe like $100 if you could talk about strobe. Not within policy buff. Policy buff, I think it's a couple hundred, right? For LNBs. And it will be a huge investment for you. But look at this. Look at how you can create very narrow strip boxes. And what kind of images you can do using these strip boxes. What kind of reflections you can get. Alex, here is Alex. Alex, hello, if you watch this. So back to our shot, back to Stefana. If you would have something like this, just 4 or 3 fluorescent bulb light with that kind of fixture creating a narrow light beam, it will be much 100 times easier to get really cool shot of this bottle. You can create rim light, you can create, you can highlight the label, you can highlight the background. And, well, like I said, I'm not going to tell you what should be done here. I have the lesson on this, and we talked about shooting bottles many times. Plus, you have some nice feedback from Florian. But first, try to get at least the minimum amount of equipment. Okay, like I showed you, those do-it-yourself strip boxes, if you call it strip boxes, will work much better. Okay, and then shoot it the way you think it will be right. Submit it and we'll talk. Okay, it will be, well, you'll get much faster to the image which you had in mind, the image you will be really proud of. Okay, so thank you, keep going. Okay, shot from Andy, some water splash shot. Inspired by Splash Garden we did with Zhenya. So Andy, cool stuff. Yeah, it looks, well, some said it's not really skull, but I think it looks pretty close. And you done it very well. I see the frozen, liquids, and shape is cool. The thing which, when I open it and look closely, throws me a little bit off, it's too much black details. I mean, too much dark areas, really dark areas of that liquid. For creative shot like this, almost like an art, it doesn't matter, right? You can do whatever you want. But if I always think about liquid, about how to create some sexy, nice splash of liquid to be used in commercial photography, in product photography, with full composite shot, this would be too much of black areas. Because the water, that clear water, we know how it looks, right? And it should be something really transparent. So you probably got too much dark areas reflecting here. That's the first thing. Then the post-production, you probably add lots of I don't know, sharpening and other stuff, which, I mean, contrast, which make it look like this. So I would definitely will try to make it a little bit more transparent. Again, not for this particular shot, because it looks cool, you can print it and, you know, it's great art. But if something to utilized in the product shot, you know, basically, Andy, you know what I'm talking about, right? By the way, guys, look at the Photigy. Very soon you will have, you will see something really, really, really cool from Andy. The shot is just mind-blowing. Tutorial from it, Andy. It's just great. It's a little announce for you guys. I'm not going to show the post yet because it will be published soon. So, Andy, I've seen that splash. That's really cool. Perfect on that new shot. This is a little bit dark, okay? But you see, you started from this and then you went to that great shot, the great commercial shot, which, well, it's just great. So, for this is the only thing that it was a little bit too dark. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to get with just speed light power. Lots of bright areas because you basically don't have light, don't have enough light. But, well, you can try. And anyone who will be shooting liquid, clear water, just always think about how clear, how shiny, and how transparent it is. And unless it's a particular reason, it shouldn't be really dark, especially on a white background, of course, because it's all visible. It all look even darker if it's placed on white background, right? So, cool shot. Thank you, Andy. Hi, Far. This is your new shot. And, well, you asked about opinion, so here it is. I'll be really fast here. I will be really quick. It's cool. It's the leather, the shot outside. I think it's really good. Really, really. And only two things which kind of a little bit bothers me. That spot with uneven texture in it, which looks kind of strange. That's dark background and that really, really little spot. Maybe consider getting a little bit brighter background, a little bit grayish, and not that contrast difference between that spot and the background. So it will be maybe a little bit larger spot with a little bit longer area of fall off between bright and dark. Talking about background, right? And this area inside of the shoe, I understand this is how it is, and maybe it's fine, you know, maybe it's fine. There is no way to fix it, right? Because that's, you shoot the real show. It just, you know, look a little bit, I don't know, it doesn't look as good as the exterior of the shoe. So it's probably not your problem at all. It just, what I think, you know, kind of catch my attention for some reason. But you know, the texture, I really like this highlight. This area, well, I think it's okay. It has just, well, it's dark, but it's fine. And you see, now the whole look is very dramatic. I think only maybe just the background. Background's probably the biggest issue here. It's kind of a little bit too destructive from the shoe itself, but shoe looks sexy. Well, awesome, awesome work. Okay, another shot from Shake. This sound bar, how you call the acoustic system. You know, cool background, kind of creative. I like it. Like photographers already suggested you that there are several areas to improve it, right? We losing this, and then it's kind of angle a little bit strange. But you see, looking at how you shoot it, again, it's, I don't know how I would possibly make it better using two umbrellas, like you did. You see, subject like this, you really need to have, for subject like this, you really need to have much more narrow and much more controlled light. Okay, without it, it will be just, well, you'll be doing it over and over again, and each image will look just, well, it won't be professional enough, right? You may have really creative backgrounds, and maybe really great post-production, but with umbrella it will be really hard for you to get that nice looking shot. I already told this on another review. Look at this, look at amazing post from Alex Stepanov. Do it yourself narrow strip boxes. I call it strip boxes basically because it's very, very narrow diffused light from these fluorescent bulbs. You see, you put it this way, and then guys, with this kind of light I would probably can shoot, I would say 90% of products, any type of products, bottles, glass, liquid, whatever. That's continuous, right? There is not, I mean, still objects with that continuous light, and I can get a really, really nice result just with this probably $10 each, $15 each light, do-it-yourself light, just because it has very narrow beam and very uniform light from that light modifier from this strip box, if I can say so. So I really suggest you to first start about thinking the light. You can spend money, or you can spend your time creating do-it-yourself, or money to buy it. But if you want to do good product photography, invest in your lighting. With umbrellas, I know it's good for girls, portraits. But not for subjects like this, because like I said, it's hard. I want to not just critique but suggest you how to improve it, but with umbrellas I don't know how to improve it. I tried to use umbrella once when I didn't have anything. I just had 2 umbrellas from eBay, and I was trying to shoot some products at the very beginning of my studio photography journey, and I just said, okay Alex, it's not gonna work, don't spend time on this. So that's what I suggest you. Okay, thank you. Bye. The shot from Maxim. This is the shot, right? I don't know why Maxim you didn't include it into the forum, but anyway, it just link is fine. Oh, that's huge resolution. So we have watch and some liquids flying around, and this is how Maxim did it. Very detailed, step by step, basically build up of lighting setup with do-it-yourself cone. Exactly that cone from Do-It-Yourself Solutions for Jewelry Photography ebook, which was released about a year ago. And yep, all these little details, which is always great to see. And the result is this, right? How I can make it a little bit smaller. So, Maxim, let's put it this way. Good shot, but it's too flat. Really, I understand that it's not glossy watch. It's just a little bit reflective, white metal or white plastic, whatever. But it's too flat. You see, we have these facets, right? We have the edges. You highlighted some of them, but I don't think it's enough to get that more dramatic look, the dramatic look basically. And the main difference how I would shoot it is that the cone, right? Similar lighting, but I would try to use some narrow spots of the light on that cone to get highlights and shadows, a little bit more highlights and shadows on the image. Or I can always use black strips, black paper inside the cone to mask some areas, okay? Because I would really want to, show more of these edges, more highlights, even though it's not a glossy subject. Then the background. I understand it's white watch, but on the black background and with the splashes, somehow it doesn't really play together for me. And this piece of splash on the glass, I don't know, it's not really belong there. I don't know, that's how I feel. So probably more on the composition. This splashes, look great, just nice liquid flying, but it doesn't come together well for this shot, how I see it. Yeah, you looks like you had those big strip boxes, you see, I use them to highlight some areas on the cone, but usually this strip box is just too large for the cone to create highlights and shadows and nice, you know, nice look, nice dramatic look between, nice gradients or nice edges on the subject, small like a watch. Try to use snoots, okay, snoots or honeycomb grids or whatever, do-it-yourself attachments to your lights, so you'll be able to create spots. And of course you need to find the right positions for each spot or light spot on that cone, but once you can find it, it will be really easy for you to create that little bit more dramatic look than what we have now. It's a little bit too flat, okay? Once you fix it, it will be a nice shot. So, thank you, Maxim. Okay, Pavel submitted this cool creative shot of running shoes, and you know, these old shoes, I think they've seen a lot of roads, because I see some cracks on them. It's kind of cool. So let me see what I like and what I not here. I like the dynamic, I like the liquid, I like these flying things. What little bit is bothering me, that kind of blur, maybe it's a little bit too much, especially on these threads. It doesn't look too natural to me, okay? It's kind of look like somebody scratched it with, I mean, did it in Photoshop basically. And maybe the angle, you see now they're running like this way, but if we move camera a little bit, let's say to the left, so they will be running like this way, it may add some more dynamic, right? It's a little bit, I would try to shoot, you know, that kind of way to change composition so it will be more dynamic. What else? I don't know. It's really cool. It's very creative. And well, man, looking at how we created this background, first I was thinking that it was just complete Photoshop digital background, but man, you did it real as much as possible, the real stuff. And thank you for behind the scene video, how you know the post-production. I think we're gonna feature it somehow on Photigy. Now we'll be having this post, like the best forum behind the scene forum posts featured every month. So this post is definitely will be there. Yeah, very creative. Very creative. Just maybe a little bit too blurry. I don't know. So I don't know what to add. Really. Thank you. Great stuff. Hi Sam. So I got back to your post with my feedback. Is it diamond or blue topaz? Yeah, no way it can be diamond, that's huge, but maybe there is. Anyway, topaz. You know, nice shots. Of course, we need to add some post-production here, more post-production, because you know this kind of fuzzy areas where it's not really nice black lines or nice highlights, it's not gonna work. Or areas like this where it just, you know, pieces some basically like holes in the metal. It should be fixed in post-production. I think this a little bit more, but again, all this area is post-production on jewelry, and it should be more post-production. And I would, in both shots here and here, I would add much more gradients on the metal, highlights and shadows, because now most of the metal look just plain gray, and it's not really appealing. You see, you got here some large reflectors, large soft boxes and some diffusion paper, I mean some lights. And usually those lights with diffusion paper, it's very small light source, right? It's just a piece of, like I said, diffusion paper. It creates very hard highlights like this one. And I never shoot jewelry this way. I always surround it with diffuser material. Any do-it-yourself, you can do cone, or you just use the diffuser plastic, the translucent plastic Savage, which is on Photigy gear page. I can again show you where it is. I mean, I know many people are, every time they ask, Alex, where are you getting this? And it's listed on this Photigy recommended gear, translucent plastic. You can buy it in UK. I know guys selling it, or there is a link on forum where to buy something similar to it on UK. Sorry, on not in only UK, on Europe. So here is the stuff. It's on bndhphotography.com. And I surround jewelry with diffuser, and then I create highlights. If I need something really highlighted, I created spot moving lights really close to the diffuser, just bare light, or with some modifier like honeycomb grid, and I can create a hard spot if needed. I can move it far away, the light from the diffuser, and it creates a gradient, some circular gradient, or if it's strip box or soft box, you can create a linear gradient, and that's what creates nice look for metal. And that's what you need to do here. Really, just large reflectors won't work. You need to make sure that you can create on that reflectors on diffuser some gradients, some shadows and highlights. That's for metal. The topaz itself, I think it looks good. It looks good. We have some highlights. Maybe if you try to hit it somewhere from behind with very narrow spotlight sources, just to create some sparks, it may be cool. I don't know. You see, I didn't shoot. I don't have any shot with stone, with gemstone that big and with that flat, huge flat surfaces, facet. On the flat, I know it's a little bit harder to get highlights because it's just a flat, but definitely you can get some more interesting stuff in terms of reflectors going all around on faucets where it's a little bit more. But in general, try to think about how to utilize that, the diffusion all around and spots on it. It will help you a lot because, well, yeah, you see, when you have this metal like this, yeah, you have some gradations, but it's not much. Mostly it's just a gray. It's not good. Bright and darker areas. That's what creates. We see that glossy. We see that it's a little bit glossy because it has some black and white, but because it's not really nice, it doesn't look really well. So, okay. By the way, guys, we have a jewelry workshop in 2 weeks on 12th on July. Join me online. I mean, it's online workshop. You can always join and see how we're gonna shoot the watch. You've seen it, right? I don't know if you've seen or not, but we have it listed here, what we're gonna shoot. Where is it? It's not listed here. No, here it is. It will be lots of metal.
Hello guys,
okay.
I'm Alex Kolskov.
Hello guys, I'm Alex
Kolskov,
commercial photographer who make it autoplay. Maybe I need to reconsider it. Anyway, this is a shot. So if you're interested, you can join and see how we're gonna deal with this stuff. Okay. So what else? What else I can say? These gemstones, they're really dark. They same gray as metal, and it's not right. They should be sparkly. They should be sparkly, much brighter than the surrounding metal. And there is a way to do it again. If you would use some diffuser, you can always highlight that area which will be reflected on the gemstones, and that will make them pop. That's very important. I always kind of thinking about like almost separate lighting setup. Well, it's not separate, but any little gemstones on watch or on a ring like this requires some usually additional special spot to be highlighted to make them boom, pop. Okay, so nice, I like this. Just, you know, do some improvements and post the result. I would like to see how we get it with that additional stuff which I just told you. Okay, cool, thank you. Okay, Naim submitted this shot. Wine, bottle of wine and the glass, and then glass itself. I think it's digital background, right? At least partially. And let's see, crazy lighting setup. I like it. That's how I was shooting for a long time. But you know, you did it very well, Naim. Really, very well. I like the bottle. I like this nice gradient on the label. It's kind of look cool. The only thing, this narrow, you see you have double reflections on the edges, and it doesn't look right. I mean, it doesn't look nice. I would probably at least try to fix these reflections maybe in post-production. You know, if they end this way and you can keep them going all the way up to the neck, you can probably do it in post-production, right? Going it all the way to connect there. It's fine, it's doable in Photoshop, probably not that hard, right? What else? You know, on a shot like this, it's cool to have bottle just like a nice the rim light, the edge. Sometimes it's maybe interesting to add a reflection somewhere on like 1/3 of the bottle just to show that it's shape, because it's really looking flat. But again, because you got this label gradient, I think it looks good. It looks good, so it's not a problem over here. And looking at your glass, I think it's very well. The glass with wine. Yep. What else? This looks cool. This looks really cool. I like this background. Spot is a little bit off, you see, especially this at the bottom. It's visible. I understand it should be right on the center, on the middle of that reflection, right? Yeah, maybe a little bit clean up in post-production on these edges. You see, they have them not really smooth. All these little edges at the bottom, it can be fixed in Photoshop just to make it, you know, perfect. Same thing probably on top. Maybe just JPEG compression. Maybe you need to just do some additional touch-up in Photoshop. Okay, let me look at this one. No, it's not opening. But I really like the result. It looks interesting, pretty interesting. Maybe the bottom, now it's not really separated from the reflection, which may be not big deal, but ideally I would like to see a little tiny edge on the bottom as well, because you have this edge all around, right? All around the bottle. It's kind of natural to see the edge at the bottom. I know by the light it's not that easy to do, but on shots like this, sometimes you just can't get right stuff to be on the right place without interfering with other pieces of this composition. I mean, throwing some bad reflections. Do composite shot. You can always highlight what you need, do the shot without touching anything, and then it will be really easy job in Photoshop just to pull that area from that additional shot and put it on the place. Like I said here, just to separate it from the background, because you see now it's the glass is really separated and bottle is just not much. And these areas, right? And again, touch up everywhere, touch up. The name on the neck, the brand name, it's not really visible. Again, some touch up will help for sure. You can always add to this glossy pieces, I always think how to make them look better. Maybe some little diffuser on top, somehow to get a reflection, and it will be a nice reflection on the any glossy parts, like those words with those wine name or brand name, whatever is on the cork, right? It's gonna look cool. It shows that it's glossy, but it's a little bit broken there. It needs to be fixed either in post-production or with some reflector or diffuser. Okay, I like this. I like this middle of the glass. Looks cool. So very good job. Thank you, Naeem. I would say that's 80% of the efforts to get, you know, perfect shot. So you have very little things to do to make it just perfect, and you can do it all in post-production now. Okay, thank you and bye.